All right, what's up, everybody? I'm hoping this is working because we are live streaming. All right, it's working. Cool. What's up, guys? So we're this is the rapid fire Q&A. Hope to provide you with some value. Be sure to drop your question. I will get to your question eventually, or your comment. Let's keep it nice and clean, and you'll see timestamps populated sometime afterwards. Firstly, I want to show you some newer nootropics I've been trying. So this is very interesting. This is my first exposure to a gaming nootropic blend. So this is a Respawn by Gorilla Mind. You feel very focused. Now, I've not tried this for gaming itself, but I've tried it around productivity. So I used it specifically for like making calls and also shooting video. You feel energetic. I think you feel like a bit too much energy in some sort of way. I think this is more of like a pre-workout product because they've got a whole lot of vitamin B. They've got L-tyrosine. I like the fact that they have a little bit of caffeine. Just be mindful, of course, of your caffeine intake. Phenylpiracetam with Phenibut. Initially, I actually thought this would be a good stack because with phenylpiracetam, what happens is it often comes about with a little bit of anxiety and does elevate your heart rate, makes you a lot more warmer. So in theory, Phenibut would actually help to offset that, help you with anxiety, and also somewhat reduce your heart rate. But that's really not how it works. Phenibut does raise your heart rate. It does make you happier. So I don't really see the need for it. I think most people have a good phenylpiracetam experience. Unless your goal is like enjoy yourself. Maybe you're going off to a party. Maybe you want to reduce that social anxiety and you want to have some energy to be outgoing. You'll be pretty extroverted. Like I find with Phenibut, though, it's really like putting a bandage on everything. You're extremely happy, somewhat euphoric, or that's me in a lot of cases, especially when I'm using the free amino acid. And I don't really see any need for it. In fact, I completely forgot about Phenibut. I haven't taken it in a long time. It's not a productivity nootropic. I hope to think that you're using nootropics to better yourself, make the world a better place, right? But that's my thoughts on that. Have you ever heard of lion's mane making people impotent? Absolutely. This is one of the more commonly reported side effects around demotivation. Is that specifically? Some people talk about hair loss, but I wouldn't personally be too concerned about that. So impotent, no, but drop of libido, yes. The other nootropic that you would want to be a bit careful with, if your goal was really just to maximize your libido entirely, would be Bacopa mineri. So Bacopa mineri, lion's mane, mushroom. Those two ones are the main ones. I've not really had any issues with them. I think if you're a driven person, you know how to use other nootropics, then you should be fine. Now, it's I guess an important disclaimer. I've never really tried these nootropics by themselves. I don't think I've ever used Bacopa just by itself. It's always been along with other nootropics that did help me with performance, productivity, boosting my motivation level, stuff like that. And that's the way I would assume most people would use Bacopa mineri, or they would at least use it with alpha GPC. So that's probably the reason why a lot of people don't report bad side effects. It's just that we have such like a large population of people that are using these nootropics now, which is why the side effects do get mentioned, right? In the morning, taking breakfast followed by vitamin B1, 6, 12 can improve studying and focus. Yes, but not to the extent that you would like it to. So with vitamin B, these are like, it's an important vitamin, don't get me wrong, but when you're looking at nootropics, we're hoping to get some sort of noticeable benefit. You probably won't notice much from them unless you're like low on vitamin B, right? So yeah, and I remember people on this channel, I remember you well. So knowing that your goal is studying, I would consider Bacopa mineri. I would consider taking some Piracetam. I would use rhodiola rosea once, if not twice during the day, just to help you with clear-mindedness and help you to be productive the several hours there afterwards. And then it's like, vitamin B, you can look at it like drinking water. We know it's going to help, right? Make sure that you're doing it. What are your overall thoughts on taurine? So I don't supplement with it daily. I used to supplement with it daily. Since I have stopped doing that, it's made no difference whatsoever. So whether or not you use it wouldn't make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. It's often going to be in energy drinks. That's where you'll see it. People talk about it decreasing anxiety levels. That hasn't been my experience. Also, I've not really found any sort of energy boost from it. So it's an amino acid, probably important, probably hard to find in large quantities from your diet. You can supplement with it, but very few people are going to say that taurine was a game changer for them. So I think that your money is going to be best spent elsewhere. That's just my thoughts. I could be wrong about it. I made a video on taurine, and when I was ingesting it, it was only once a day. So that was typically when I was taking a pre-workout supplement. Now, yeah, some people may say it helps them with anxiety. again, the anxiety it's like super tricky. There's so many different forms of anxiety. People feel anxiety for a lot of reasons. Often it's resolved actually through diet or some other supplements. Like lion's mane is one that really helps some people. Have you tried Jocko Go? I have no idea what Jocko Go is, but because we don't have too many people up in here yet, I don't mind looking it up, or you can share some about. And there's like, okay, cool. So it looks like an energy drink. Energy drinks great for, I mean, taste, great for the sake of convenience, but no, I haven't tried them. But speaking of blends, this is a pretty popular blend right now. Magic Mind. Is it worth it? I like it. I mean, it actually tastes good. You can see it's in a pretty small bottle. It's like almost like a shot. So I like that it's somewhat stimulatory, but they also do have some good ingredients there. Like they've got bacopaminary, they have ashwagandha, they have rhodiola rosea. It's 21 calories per serving, so that's really good, especially considering a lot of people practice intermittent fasting. So I've been using this. Occasionally, probably not too frequently, just because I forget. I'm keeping it refrigerated, and it's good. It's you get a nice boost of alertness. So I've been playing around with supplements outside of caffeine and L-theanine. And I like this is pretty small dose of caffeine, which is going to be good for cognition, because caffeine and L-theanine, it's so unpredictable. I really think it's I would say overrated. Depends on what you're trying to do, especially if you're somebody that fasts or you often have issues with your blood pressure. Then you got to be careful with it. I get very fatigued sometimes when I take caffeine or L-theanine, so I'm still trying to figure that out. Right, I'll take my caffeine serving in the morning to help me out with my workout, and then I'll typically take caffeine sometimes later during the day. Sorry, that question was there highlighted. How long till you fully notice Piracetam? For most people, it's going to be about 2 weeks. For me, I think around the same thing, like 1 to 2 weeks. The way you would want to start, the way you would want to take Piracetam is by taking 1 gram, take it twice a day. But the key is taking it along with a choline source. My favorite being alpha GPC, choline bitartrate. That's also good. CDP choline. So with Piracetam, it's super subtle. You'll notice that with some time, you'll have a slight boost in drive. And learning and just general verbal fluency is going to be better with it. Like verbal fluency, meaning when you're speaking, how fast can you recall things? How fast or to what manner can you articulate yourself? So that's what Piracetam is pretty much known for. And the same thing with Phenylpiracetam. Now, it's not stimulatory. Doesn't really matter when during the day you take it. But if you don't take it with choline, then the issue is people often get brain fog or they get headaches. So it's like 80% of people or so would take it would take it alongside choline. The other 20%, maybe they could respond okay without it. But with alpha GPC, that one's good. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. You're able to get your choline consumption in. If you are to just focus solely on getting choline through your diet, be mindful that you need to really eat a lot of eggs. People think they can eat eggs and get their choline intake, but what they don't realize is once you cook the egg, you're losing about 2/3 of the choline content. If you don't respond well to that alpha GPC, then yeah, CDP choline or choline bitartrate is going to be good. But I first noticed Piracetam actually when I stopped taking it. And when you're using like subtle nootropics like Piracetam or Phenylpiracetam, then that's often how it happens. I was using it to study, grades were good. I stopped taking it, and then you notice just your recall isn't as strong. You're not memorizing things as well. You don't have as much focus as you typically would. Like with the Racetams, Noopept, one of the reasons they're so effective is you stop focusing on things outside of your goals or outside of work. So you can kind of, you have this tunnel vision focus, neglect your social life. That's how you're going to get ahead, right? Combination of alpha GPC and ginkgo can prolong the effect of alpha GPC, as ginkgo is acetylcholine inhibitor. Perhaps it could, but also with ginkgo, be mindful. Some people have bad side effects with it. Now, you prolonging the effect of alpha GPC, it's not really going to change too much. It's a pretty light nootropic for most people, and then when you're looking at the consumption of it, you can always just increase the consumption. So I don't really see a need to take ginkgo just for that specific advantage anyway. Have you tried on supplements for lucid dreaming? Not for that specific reason, really, because what is so good about lucid dreaming? Somebody tell me. Sure, you can kind of like control your actions and thoughts during the dream, but it's never been a specific desire for me anyway. So lucid dreaming, some of the popular nootropics for it are alpha GPC, surprisingly, taking a high dose before bed because it's not stimulatory, and the other one is huperzine A and vinpocetine. So you'll see some lucid dreaming blends out there, but I would be just more focused on having a high quality deep sleep. You can measure that, whether that's Fitbit or Ring, etc. All right, how can you prevent the afternoon crash from taking 0.25 milligrams of modafinil? 0.25 milligrams of modafinil in the morning. It kills my workouts. Thank you. Interesting. What do you feel like when you're taking it? Because if it's killing your workouts, then what's so is you're probably very irritable, you're probably very anxious, and you're probably dehydrated as well. With modafinil, consider just drinking more water. And I would take 750 milligrams to 1 gram of L-tyrosine, like 20 to 30 minutes prior to your workout. You'll notice a boost in energy levels. I'm actually okay mixing caffeine along with modafinil prior to working out, depending on what kind of workout, and of course, depending on you and how you feel with modafinil. If it really just does make your heart rate excessively beat in kind of scary way, then I would abandon the caffeine. But I think it goes pretty well along with it. Yeah, but my cardio sessions aren't as good when I'm on modafinil, but I can lift a lot. I can lift a little bit more weight, not a lot more weight. A lot more weight would be something like phenylpiracetam. And guys, don't mind giving this live stream a thumbs up. And the best way to support me is through using some of the affiliate links below. Make sure that you're doing that, especially if you're getting some of the products. You may as well use my affiliate link. Help me up. I'll help you up. That's what we do. What are the best natural nootropics for verbal fluency? Rhodiola rosea is going to be great. Bacopa monnieri is going to be great. Alpha GPC, that's probably going to be the strongest one out of the few. And ashwagandha, actually, because for a lot of people, they're just they're more centered. They're more like centered. They're more in alignment, and they genuinely want to help people more. Yeah, it can kind of make you like a better person, but in some ways, it can like decrease stress levels, and stress is not necessarily a bad thing. That's the kind of like the disclaimer around ashwagandha. But I noticed when I stopped taking alpha GPC, my verbal fluency is not as sharp as it typically is, which was a sign for me, again, like kind of similar to Piracetam. You notice them really when you stop taking them. So the way lately using alpha GPC, because I will admit I changed my dosages a lot. Somebody had pointed out that I used to take alpha GPC or lion's mane 3 times a day, now 2 times a day, and it just kind of depends on the day. So it's typically going to be 150 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day with alpha GPC. If I use the phenylpiracetam every day for 30 days, would that be safe? You know, I love that question because I was wondering the same thing. And I did try it actually for a cutting diet. I was using modafinil, or no, I was taking phenylpiracetam every single day, expecting that, of course, I would lose weight. It elevates your heart rate. It makes your workouts better. It makes it easier to be on a calorie restricted diet. And I didn't notice withdrawals. So I would say, yeah, yes, but be careful. What I would actually do is this: in your scenario, I would use phenylpiracetam for a few days, like let's say 3 days. The 4th day, don't take it. If you notice slight withdrawals, then I would stay clear of doing something like this. If on the 4th day you feel just as good as you felt the other days, for example, like no signs of withdrawals, then I would be a bit more comfortable doing this. 30 days is going to be a little bit extreme. You may want to consider doing like weekdays on, weekends off, just to reset yourself, because you kind of forget who you are when you're on stimulants. I took phenylpiracetam today, and for a good portion of the day, your mind is racing so fast that you can. The good news is you can easily task switch and go from doing like one thing, like typing up an email, to being on a phone call. But at the same time, you think you're getting a lot done, but at the end of the day, you realize that you haven't really got much done. Put it that way. But it's very good for energy levels. Like you want to shoot video, you want to speak on the phone, you want to have high energy levels during conversations or making presentations. Phenylpiracetam, probably one of the best nootropics out there, if not the best nootropic. Can Piracetam, oh, this is great. Yeah, guys, don't mind showing me your stack. All right, can Piracetam, tyrosine, taurine, cognizin, theanine / caffeine, lithium orotate, alcar, lion's mane be taken together? I'm going to say, why not? The only, yeah, there's really no disclaimer there. This is a pretty good stack. With theanine, I had mentioned it can sometimes fatigue you. It makes it a little bit unpredictable. You got some good nootropics there for mood stability. With tyrosine, I would just like know yourself. There's no bad interactions over here, but the only time really you see people mixing tyrosine, theanine, and caffeine is pre-workout. See, with caffeine, know yourself. Know if you respond better mixing it with L-tyrosine, which is going to just pump you up more, give you that focus. or L-theanine, where it calms you down a little bit more. I don't often use them together. I'll use theanine more around, like more so when I have higher energy levels and I just want to be kind of a bit calmer, have like a smooth level of focus. But I'll mix caffeine and L-tyrosine when I need some energy, I need some focus, I need some drive. So I don't really see the need of adding them both over there. I would consider removing one of them. With tyrosine, the main side effect that people do experience with it is a slight bit of anxiety. But it's like you're driven. Taking out tyrosine, you're shooting up your dopamine levels. Dopamine being a very neurotransmitter, important around goals, around like you doing a specific task that will lead to some sort of reward. So be mindful of that. And alcohol, just to put it out there, it really doesn't do too much. All right, have you tried quality of life? Can you recommend cheaper alternatives? Yeah, quality of life, I have tried it, taken it for the 30 days. I think that's, or 28 days. That's the suggested, and it did exactly what I expected it to do. What it was that, it didn't do anything that you would notice. You're taking a supplement for anti-aging, right? But speaking of anti-aging, I've been taking this. It's not M&M, it's NMN, which a lot of you have asked me about. Maybe I'll make a video on this. This is from HealthSpan Plus Labs. Cool product so far. So I've been taking it every day with the largest meal of my day. And some people really notice, crazy things with this product, right? It's not my first time using it. I didn't notice much from it, but what the heck? Why not try it again? Hey, I'm a new beginner in Huperzine A. I bought it and it's 200 micrograms. How do I take this? I need it for exams / working at MC demand job. Okay, cool. So I would, first of all, make sure you respond to it okay. Take it once a day and then consider going up to 2 times a day. And you shouldn't, if you're very aware of your state, then you may notice that you can learn at a faster rate. Maybe your execution is a little bit better because executive function should be better. So better thinking, learning, planning skills. But it's going to be so slight with Huperzine A. Very few people do notice it working. There's no other disclaimers. I would still be comfortable taking it before bed. It's not like some of those nootropics that you wouldn't want to take too late because they could potentially keep you up. But I just think it's a pretty light nootropic. And if you're ever wondering about like nootropics in general and how I feel about a lot of them, then I made videos like rating nootropics from 1 to 10. If you can't find that video, then just drop a message. But you can go on my videos and just click search, right, and find them. So rating nootropics from a scale of 1 to 10. I don't remember what I gave Huperzine A, maybe a 2 or a 3. But it was a very popular nootropic about a decade ago when other nootropics weren't discovered. And then people discovered things like lion's mane and Noopept. I remember around 2014, those 2 nootropics became very popular. And then people used those and kind of like forgot about choline bitartrate, vinpocetine, Huperzine A, right? I need something for anxiety. Man, don't we all? Oh, boy. Consider meditation. I meditate 10 minutes a day. I went a full year, actually, once meditating 1 hour a day. And it really decreased my productivity, but some of the principles stuck with me forever as far as how to kind of like change your state, if that makes sense. Like understanding the power of your breath and really how we, things happen, but it's how we emotionally react to it, which is going to control our state. So consider that. Consider getting in some morning mindset, a morning mindset routine. Journal, write down 3 intentions every day. Make sure that you enjoy your work, you like your work. Make sure there's no toxicity in your household. Look at your peers and set goals for yourself, right? And we're all anxious, so just don't worry. The question is, what are you worrying about? And now we'll answer with nootropics. L-theanine is going to be great. Ashwagandha is going to be great. And sometimes if it's just a matter of you like needing more energy and needing to focus, then you can consider using some caffeine. Sometimes it'll help people just to, if you use caffeine, it may boost anxiety, but then you'll go hit a workout, for example, and then you're not anxious anymore because you've gotten that out of your system. You've got your blood flowing. So it's all about just knowing yourself, and you're welcome to share a little bit more about that. Lexapro has many side effects on me. Yeah, like it would. All right, cool. Oxiracetam or Pramiracetam, which is the most noticeable effect, and which one do you prefer? I prefer Oxiracetam. First, in both ways actually. Oxiracetam will make you somewhat alert. You take it, you feel it, you're a little bit more focused, you're productive, you can get to work, so you definitely feel something working. Whereas Pramiracetam, it's light, but it's noticeable. They're very different. See, Oxiracetam, it'll boost your drive. I don't think it will necessarily like change your personality so much, or it'll make you like solve complex problems that you weren't initially able to solve before using Oxiracetam. But with Pramiracetam, it's like the delayed gratification nootropic. You're able to do very boring work in a repetitive fashion. So for example, I was using Pramiracetam when I was kind of new to making sales calls, and it was just easier to really treat it like a numbers game, embrace this principle that like boring equals money, boring equals money. It sounds pretty boring in black and white, and that's really what it is. And Pramiracetam kind of helps you with that. So yeah, you get a lot of drive from it, but it's, I mean, Pramiracetam, we're looking at like probably the most expensive, Racetam anyway, and definitely don't take it in the powder form. Pramiracetam, man, worst tasting nootropic. You won't get it out of your mouth. You can brush your teeth. So that's one I mean, I think I tortured myself for a couple weeks once by taking it in powder form. Never again. All right, cool. How would you rank these for help with sleep? Well, that's a fun question. So I would say for sleep, okay, let's talk about the ones that like my preference anyway. So it would be Shodan first. I would take it every day. I do take it every day. Then lemon balm, but I mean it's really not close. Shodan would be far superior than lemon balm. Then valerian root, and then chamomile. Chamomile, I don't think it's gonna really do much. It's negligible. With valerian root, if you get the extract, if you get the capsules, sometimes, I mean, it'll make you a little bit tired. It's not that noticeable, but I don't really feel like it works as fast as you would like it to. It's very smooth. With lemon balm, I'm able to fall asleep after I take lemon balm and Shodan within pretty much like 20 minutes, half hour. So if you're somebody that is having trouble falling asleep, these are two great nootropics. Shodan has some good research around it as far as not only falling asleep, but waking up in a energized state. You'll often just stay asleep, especially if you're a light sleeper, kind of like myself. So I'm really glad I've been exposed to Shodan. I've been using it every single day the past year, maybe 2 years. I probably haven't been taking it for like four of those weeks. For example, if I'm traveling, I won't take Shodan, but it's been good. And yeah, I mean, I do track my sleep score. It's definitely better when I'm using Shodan, so don't sleep on that one. They're very small pills. I think 120 or 130, 120 or 130 milligrams per serving. Have you tried rosemary extract? Maybe I have. If I did, it wasn't noticeable, but I could. You're welcome to tell me more about it. And speaking of nootropics, what else do I have here? Turmeric. We love turmeric. Turmeric and black pepper. This is from Natural Foundation. So I'm going to be trying more herbal stuff because, I mean, some of the nootropics which are out there now, they kind of scare me. So I'd rather just try more herbal stuff. Try some rosemary. Why not? So turmeric and black pepper, I'm going to be giving that a shot. This is 120 tablets, and it looks and smells exactly how you would like it to. Not so appealing, but that's okay. Do you recommend Mayo Indicettle for? I've not tried it yet, but I can consider giving that a shot. Cool. Any experience with 9-MeBC for dopamine restoration? I used to take it with Adderall and Ritalin. So I've used this for a few weeks. You kind of lose your sense of taste for a bit. It tastes really bad. Like regardless of the serving size, but I didn't notice anything from it. Plus, pretty mixed reviews on this one. People either love it or they just don't notice anything from it. So I seem to be somewhat of a non-responder, excuse me. It is always interesting when these when nootropics are coming out now for dopamine restoration. My gosh, what they will do to get some of their product out. I received a message from Amazon and okay, cool. That is a comment. That's a perfect example of a comment that we don't want. And it's not your fault. Okay, cool. We answered. How do you feel about L-tyrosine side effects with hypothyroidism? I want to try it, but I've seen some people get hypothyroidism or something, so I'm scared to try it. Okay, well, I could speak directly to this because I have had hypothyroidism. In fact, I got my blood levels checked today. I check them every 6 months just to see my T3, my T4, and my TSH. So I'm currently taking T3 in the form of Cytomel at 50 micrograms, and I'm taking Synthroid, I believe 25 micrograms, but what's so is my T3 is actually very high, and I use L-tyrosine every single day, but I'm not saying that's your example of how you know that that L-tyrosine won't necessarily do that. I'm not sure, actually. This is the first time I've heard about this, but I would doubt that L-tyrosine would do anything significant with your thyroid. I mean, if you believe you have hypothyroidism, the first thing is to go get your blood work tested, and then test it often because your thyroid levels are always changing. There have been times when I've been using the same amount of T3 and T4, and my numbers are just all over the place because there's other factors like diet and probably stress, I hate to say it, and then workouts. But really, you want to drive up your thyroid levels, eat more. A lot of people have hypothyroidism because they're simply not eating enough carbohydrates or they're not eating enough fat. You get your calorie intake up, your thyroid is going to go up along with it. It's going to be easier for you to build muscle, and it's going to make you have better energy levels and going to make you have better sleep. So I think I'd rather have higher thyroid than lower thyroid. I mean, all the symptoms that are related to low thyroid seem horrible. Low energy, lack of productivity. With hyperthyroidism and your thyroid being too high, the main side effect is the fact that whatever, like, you got some racing thoughts. Maybe it'll be harder for you to sleep. Yeah, guys, get your thyroid levels checked and get your testosterone levels checked. I've had low testosterone levels in the past, though. I mean, I was still able to be somewhat productive, right? Because I didn't have bad temptations, if you know what I mean. Does Noopept cause anxiety at all? A little bit, depending on who you ask. I've had pretty high dosages over the years, like 50 to 70 milligrams per day. Not that people should be taking that much. I didn't really notice any anxiety, but probably other people could see me as an anxious person, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't feel anxious, but other people could have seen me as an anxious person, and I probably didn't feel anxious because I was so focused, right? Because Noopept, it will make you driven. It's subtle, but it works, and you'll notice it if you have objective ways of measuring, like your work, your performance, your productivity. Heck, if you're somebody that doesn't really care about their productivity, I wouldn't even touch Noopept, because then you wouldn't. I mean, if you do, you'll stop enjoying some of the other things in your life, you can say. I felt Modalert make me sensitive to pain. Cool. Really, it's actually supposed to be the opposite. So with them, you shouldn't notice pain. And I actually found a really cool study with rhodiola rosea, kind of similar, or it basically does the opposite. With rhodiola rosea, the perceived effort is less than the actual effort. So for example, if you're going to go and do a 30-pound dumbbell curl and you've never done it before and it looks very heavy, you can ingest some rhodiola rosea. You will try it and you will not think that it's heavy, just the way that it works. Man, nootropics. Don't sleep on these nootropics. Bless the world with exposing them to the beauty of nootropics. Are there any nootropics that can decrease your need for sleep if you sleep too much? Yes, Tonkat Ali. Tonkat Ali, most people think of it like a testosterone booster. I'm speaking from my experience. When I started taking Tonkat Ali, and I talked about this in the many videos I made with Tonkat Ali, I was able, and because I track my sleep, to kind of go from 7 hours of sleep to like 6.5-ish, maybe 6, depending on the day and how my sleep was. And the other thing is Tribulus terrestris, maybe Shodan. But I would still make sure that I'm getting my sleep. And if you can, unless you're like, you're super busy, you got to work, then it's okay. Maybe just, cut out a bit of sleep. But something as small as a 10-minute nap is really going to help you just energize yourself. So those are a few nootropics. Tonkat Ali, I really like just taking 200 milligrams a day. I'm still using it, maybe not noticing the same benefits that I experienced from day one, as far as improving testosterone levels, as far as improving my power output, lifting more weight. But I do feel stronger. I do feel like I get better sleep. And does it really help me? It's funny because you can make the argument and maybe it helps you with cognition a little bit just because of this. It's not like it helps you with cognition. It's more so it just helps you overcome that sleep-deprived state. And the other thing is hydrate. Make sure you're taking some vitamin B. And I would consider creatine consumption. Creatine allows me to sleep for a little bit less, just in terms of improving my energy levels. So I like that. Man, somebody got banned, really? That wasn't me, I think. Is it okay to take only magnesium glycinate or add anything? Of course it's okay. I don't get the question. It's fine. All right, what's your opinion on this? And I'm just going to hide that because YouTube doesn't like that word. And Cyril, make sure don't add that to the timestamp. So I still use it. And what so is, yeah, the way you would want to use it is just to get you in a driven state, because you can spray like 2 to 4 milligrams and you'll feel alert. And you can also use it prior to going, like within the few hours before going to sleep. But it is a very addicting substance, so that's where it seems to get a bad rep. But I've really yet to find like research which clearly states like why it's bad for us, what it does specifically in our brain. But it'll brighten your mood. Just the problem with it is like half an hour afterwards, it'll like decrease your mood to levels that were worse than they were originally. So that's why I'm not that big of a fan of nicotine. Lemon balm or passion flower for morning anxiety. What are some nootropics you might recommend? I would also consider magnolia bark. If you haven't tried it, give it a shot. If it doesn't work for you, then you can consider getting it from a different brand, a different vendor, because what so is some people do experience it working well, especially alongside stimulants. So this is going to depend on if you're taking it with stimulants, if you're taking it without. I would consider taking the lemon balm, but there's also other great nootropics out there. So for morning anxiety, I would definitely try some bacopaminary or some ashwagandha. I think this stacks together, it really helps to improve your baseline mood. Like you use these two nootropics, you're walking around happier all the time, provided that you've taken them every single day for about a week. Anyone's welcome to, of course, disagree with me with that, but that's kind of my go-to stack around improving your mood. And then also you may want to consider using something like L-theanine as well. And it's kind of scary, like 2023. The number one thing people want is this fix to anxiety. How do you feel about Bromantane? I feel it's pretty overrated, actually. People take it expecting a boost of motivation, infinite motivation. That's what I labeled it in one of my videos. Did it do that? No, I've tried it in the drops, in the nasal spray. I've tried it in the powder. It is not a nootropic that I use anymore. I kind of used it for you guys, took it for, 60, 90 days. Maybe noticed a little bit, slightly more focused, but objectively, do I think I was any more productive? Do I think that I thought any differently, thought outside the box? I would say no, and so for that reason, I don't take it anymore. But if you're like off of stimulants and you're not feeling right and you need some energy levels, then I don't think you can go wrong with trying something like Bromantane. Also consider try Sabroxy. I've been using this supplement lately. I actually really like it, and it's making me think about using Sabroxy again because it's got Sabroxy, L-tyrosine, polygala, and L-theanine. I feel really focused when I'm on this. This is called Notable Focus. So I'm really enjoying this product, and I'm surprised because it's only got 250 milligrams of L-tyrosine. So clearly the Sabroxy at 300 milligrams is doing something. So Sabroxy and polygala, I think the problem with both those two nootropics is people often take very, very low amounts. They're just taking like 50 to 100 milligrams, expecting them to do something. But with Sabroxy or polygala, if you want them to work, because they can work, potentially with some, we're looking for nootropics that can replace ADHD meds. And this is, to some extent, how close you would get to it, right? You do feel more focused. It will help you if you have those ADHD kind of like symptoms. I'm suffering from insomnia. Please suggest me a good sleep stack. All right, Tribulus terrestris, lemon balm extract, shodan, ashwagandha, and consider taking some form of magnesium, taking that within 30 to 60 minutes of going to sleep. Share my opinion about Bromantane. Okay, cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, we've actually got a video on this coming out. What would you recommend long-term for ADHD that's safe? I had Vyvanse. Okay, cool. So you may want to consider taking some caffeine and L-theanine or caffeine and L-tyrosine, depending on how you respond to it. Watch the beginning of this live stream. I talk more about that. Sabroxy could be good for some people, and I would what else? There's other thing. Vitamin B. A lot of research shows that fish oil, surprisingly, is very effective around ADHD. So consider consuming at least I would say like 3 to 5 grams of combined EPA and DHA every single day. Look at where you're getting your fish oil from. A lot of fish oil is from polluted water bodies. You don't want to be taking anything from a bad brand. And look at your carbohydrate intake, because that often it causes people to have a lack of concentration. Like, people don't understand, when you eat carbohydrates, you have your insulin spikes throughout the whole day. Bacopaminary, that's also a good one. And alpha GPC, be mindful of that. What's your opinion on dopa? Yeah, I wouldn't be taking L-dopa, Mucuna. I think that L-tyrosine is going to be better, and people do report coming off of L-dopa and experiencing some lack of motivation, actually. It's like it drops dopamine levels. Cool. Neurofeedback. The closest that I've come to neurofeedback is using Muse, which is like the meditation headband. It's like you wear it. It kind of, I wouldn't say scans your brain, but as you're meditating, it chirps. There's like a bird that chirps depending on how loud your brain is, if that makes sense. So if you have like a very, so it's reading it, you've got headphones in, and then once your mind is quiet, the bird stops chirping, which is pretty cool. That's the closest I've come to neurofeedback anyway. I also have hypothyroidism, hypothyroid intake, T3 and T4. Are there any supplements that one should not take with this condition, i.e. lemon balm or ashwagandha? I wouldn't say there's anything you should necessarily avoid. Ashwagandha, people say don't take it because it can elevate your thyroid. And to some extent, I agree. I think if you know what's working for you, if you've gotten your meds right and your T3 and your T4 levels are in normal range, then I think a little bit of ashwagandha could be okay under the discretion of your GP. Just be mindful to check your levels afterwards. But I've yet to find anybody actually tell me like, I have hypo and then ashwagandha screw things up. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe you'll just see some experiences like that on Reddit, for example. All right, what is Sabroxy like? Is it better than Noopept? It's not better than Noopept. It's a slight bit of focus. I like that it's a smooth level of focus, but for me, it's not effective enough. And you need to take too much Sabroxy for you to feel it, which makes it horribly expensive and makes me feel like I would just take Noopept instead, because Noopept isn't going to just give me the focus. It's also going to give me the drive. It's also going to help with verbal fluency. Research shows that it does actually help with BDNF, which in theory makes you smarter. So I'm all about Noopept. Are DHA, EA supplements any good? I don't think so. I think pretty overrated. And I think we've, there was one question that I also wanted to cover. Yeah. So regarding lion's mane mushroom, people, I mean, there's a lot of concern about this. Nootropic, does it increase anxiety? Does it have side effects like hair loss? I want you to know I'm still pretty comfortable taking lion's mane mushroom. I've not noticed any negative side effects when it comes to hair loss, drop of libido. It still works similarly to as it did to day 1 or maybe day 7 from when I started taking it. And that's a really good mood improvement stack. Like if ashwagandha bacopa, that stack isn't working for you, lion's mane mushroom, the 8-to-1 is probably it's kind of like my preferred thing to go through for all things mood, because you feel you could still be productive with it, whereas with ashwagandha, not so much. Somebody else asked, okay, how do you feel about modafinil with Noopept? Modafinil with Noopept, it's interesting because the modafinil, it just pretty much overpowers the Noopept to make it such that there's no point taking it. You can consider taking it if you have any concern that the Noopept maybe will that you've been taking it every day and you just want to stay with that consistency. But at the end of the day, modafinil and phenylpiracetam are so overpowering to all the racetams, to Noopept too. I take rhodiola rosea on days when I'm using modafinil. I still notice that one working, but I mean, it just depends on the nootropic. What about, okay, cool. Theocrine, I don't like the way it makes me feel. I get this like nervous, anxious stimulation with it. So I use Dynamine, but I've had almost a full bottle of Theocrine sitting on the shelf that I haven't touched in a long time. Gorilla Mind Smooth, thoughts on it? Gorilla Mind Smooth is the nootropic. It's okay. It does what you'd expect it to. It'll give you a bit of an energy boost and a productivity boost. So I think for the value, and you look at the cost of it, I think it's a great nootropic. Yeah, I can't really find anything wrong with the products. Like for the value and just when you look at the other nootropic brands out there, they're pretty good. Could modafinil potentially make me depressed, like in a depressed state in a short-term use? Absolutely. I've had days when I took modafinil and I was anxious the whole day. I couldn't get out of that state. I felt worse. I wanted it gone. But eventually, I've noticed those days when I feel really bad with modafinil, sometimes towards the end of the day, my mood is way up and I feel better and I'm more productive. So it's just that with modafinil, you have like highs and you have lows, and some days you have lows and then you have highs. So the more you take modafinil, the more you understand how your body reacts to it, which can give you a level of consistency because you'll know what kind of work or what to do on those modafinil days. See, the idea is to know which days you're going to take your modafinil. For instance, I know I'm typically going to take it on a Tuesday, or sometimes maybe I'll take it on a Tuesday and I'll take it on a Friday. Or when I'm flying, I would use modafinil. So that helps me overall. It gives me depression, I think, because of the GPC. Could be possible. Hey, started nootropics recently. My stack includes Piracetam, Alpha, GPC, fish oil, magnesium again, creatine. Would you include anything else? I'm a stock trader. I think that's a great stack. I don't have any adjustments to make, but knowing that you're a stock trader, I would take something for fatigue. Consider adding 300 to 500 milligrams of rhodiola rosea in the middle of the day, because it's going to help you with your mental clarity, making sure that your analytical skills are up and you can continue trading stocks at a high level. Cool. Is it the same? People use phenylhydrazine and then they get back to the original phenylpiracetam. So I've not personally tried the hydrazine, but I would guess they're very similar. Thoughts on theanine? I kind of already addressed this earlier, but to address taking it by itself, not a bad idea if it's around anxiety, but most people are using theanine along with caffeine, since there's really good research around caffeine and L-theanine. It's solid. Like when it comes to productivity, it's just a question of how do you respond to it. And guys, I hope this was valuable, and I'm going to continue doing these probably on like a bi-weekly basis. Be sure to support the channel by dropping likes, always encouraging people to subscribe, use the affiliate links. I'm going to keep on doing my best to share value. And if you need anything from me, just drop a comment on one of the videos, because I get to them typically Tuesdays and Fridays. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Thank you. Cheers.